Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. We're back after a one-day hiatus. And Juice, I don't know what it is, buddy. It's like days we tell ourselves we're not going to do a show, they lose. I haven't had to rip this W off of this hat, I think, in all this season so far, to be completely honest, of when we've done shows. And it's been kind of nice. But thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this Feel Good Friday, W Friday, whatever the hell you want to call it. Cubs throttle the Dodgers. I'm Ron Luce, joined by the Juice Man himself. Juice, buddy, how are you doing? Happy Friday to you, my friend, and happy big Cubs win on Friday afternoon, man.
Feeling great, Ronald. I got my blue juice today, a little bit of blue Gatorade for the W. Doing good, man. Things are good on the north side. No, it didn't feel that way after last night, but then you watch Drew Smyl go out there. And I didn't realize this, man. Like, Smyl at home, like, that's a thing. I didn't – until they were talking about, like, him and Jake Arrieta at the end of the broadcast and in terms of, like, how good they're doing at home. I'm like, shit, man. Like, I didn't realize that, like, that was a thing. It's crazy how, like, many, like, contributions this team is getting from – guys that you just don't realize are doing it. They're just playing team baseball, and it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I said it the other day, but like this Cubs team just gets me legitimately excited to watch baseball again. You know, they play good defense. So many guys are taking another step forward this season, at least at the start here. You know, the new core and guys like Nico Horner and Ian Happ and Dansby Swanson. Seiya looks good. You're getting huge contributions from guys that we all told ourselves as long as they did X, the Cubs could be in really good shape. And I think they're all exceeding that expectation so far. Mankini, a big power day today. Belly loves beating up the fucking Dodgers, which is so good. And it's just all coming together, man. And you got exactly what the doctor ordered. And I think that's exactly where we need to start, buddy, is with the pitching today. Because you look at yesterday's game. Jamison Tyone goes on the IL hours before that game's supposed to start. They call up Javier Assad, who is not stretched out yet. He manages to still give them 3 innings, but then you have to burn through the bullpen. Alzolay goes an inning. Rucker goes an inning. Boxberger goes an inning. Hughes goes 2 innings. Fulmer pisses it away on a grand slam, and then even Merriweather had to get used. So they dug deep into that pen yesterday. Obviously, they sent Assad right back down. They can play a little bit of the roster game, bring up Estrada for today to have a fresh arm out of the pen. But, man, Drew Smyl gave you exactly what the doctor ordered today. 7 2/3. He's perfect into the 7th. 10 Ks, just the 1 hit, no walks. What a fucking day for Drew Smyl, Juice.
Yeah, who knows what happens if Yan Gomes doesn't 5th-round tackle him. And if he's able to throw, I mean, it would have been really close, and it would have had to be a perfect play for any of them to pick it up. Baseball gods are just cruel. And I think I tweeted that as well. Like, it's 36 on the exit velocity, and it becomes a hit. Like, I mean, come on. I think that he would have closed it out too if that play is made. It was clear that he just had it all working. And it was funny to, like, listen, because we were late, I listened a little bit to the post game, and I don't normally do that. I usually just come on here and give my thoughts, but they had Yan Gomes on there with the Northwestern helmet on as well for his interview, which I thought was hilarious. You know, play into it. But it's just funny to, like, listen to him talk about – Smyl said he had a horrible bullpen, came out there, didn't know what he was going to have. And it just reminded me so much, and I know we're entering the month of May, but that Kerry Wood 20 strikeout, like, everything you ever watched mentions that Kerry Wood probably had his worst bullpen of his career before he threw those 20 strikeouts on that cold May day. But it's just it was interesting to hear that, like, realistically for Smyl today was 2 pitch mix. It was fastball, curveball, and that's all he needed. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to, like, just think, like, you're going up there as a hitter, you know what's coming at you, and you still can't hit it. Yeah, and that's how it was all day today. And the bats made – obviously Smyl gets the sunlight, but, man, I'll tell you, these bats, like, they are outperforming. And I think, like, some of them are even underperforming, you know, their power numbers at least a little bit. And, you know, you're starting to see Mancini get into into the mix a little bit more, and a lot of people were worried about him. And I think it's hilarious, man. Like there's still two huge names at AAA that haven't joined this team that probably at some point are going to. But yeah, the Cubs are, and I saw this stat too on postgame, they're 5-0 following a loss. You know what good teams do? They don't make one loss in two.
Yep.
They cut the head off the snake right when they start to see something wrong. But I think this is the type of baseball club we're going to see all year. We're going to see a team that doesn't take losses like last night to heart as much as maybe those past like 17, 18, 19, 20 Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it seemed like a lot. Like if something started to go wrong for a lot of those teams, that it kind of snowballed into some sort of, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen for this club because it's baseball, and we're going to sit here on a 5-game losing streak at some point in this season and go, man, they just need to win a game. But early on, it's everybody contributing, and it's everybody putting last night's ball game in the rearview mirror. There's a lot that could happen in today's game with, Julio Urias on the mound. You go in today's game with your, let's call it your fourth starter, and you go, man, this could be trouble, because then you're seeing Dustin May and you're seeing Clayton Kershaw. So there's a lot of like, you wonder what you're seeing, and this could be a 4-game sweep that you're looking in the eyes. But this Cubs team look at it as, screw it. Whatever happened last night happened, and now let's go dominate. And they won 13-0.
Absolutely. I love exactly what you said there, Juice, about great teams rebound after a loss, especially a heartbreaking loss like last night, right? It's 2-2 all the way into the 9th inning. Bases juiced, Outman hits the grand slam, and that's all she wrote. That's a hard loss to rebound from. It's one thing to just, you get beat, you lose by 3 or 4 runs. All right, shake it off, move to the next day. But to be going into the 9th tied, and then for that to happen, especially when you're kind of in scramble mode, especially from a pitching standpoint, that would be, like you said, for a lot of Cubs teams, and even just teams in general, a really easy way that 1 turns into 2. Not this Cubs team. They're I hate to say it, they're built different. That's just the name of the game. You have the likes of Dansby Swanson there now. You have Cody Bellinger, who's been on great teams. You have guys like Hosmer who've been through success. Mancini was a World Series winner a year ago. Got to see how that clubhouse operated as a champion. That veteran leadership alone, I think, makes such a huge difference. And then that maturity from some of these guys in year 2, right? The Nico Horners of the world, the Ian Happs of the world, guys like Patrick Wisdom accepting where he's at and running with it. Seiya Suzuki coming back and looking healthy and doing what he needed to do in the offseason, get ready for the major league game, really, after a year of adjusting to, as we brought up numerous times, especially you, Juice. I mean, you were the kind of the one pounding the drum of, not only was Seiya adjusting to a whole new game of baseball because of the MLB versus Japan, but a whole new country, and just living in Chicago and, adapting to that. Now he's a little more settled in, and now you're starting to see the kind of player that they got last offseason to be a part of this team. And it's just awesome. And just go into the comments here real quick. First off, shout out to everybody in the comments. You guys are the absolute best. I'm just going to kind of bounce around, admittedly. Jeremiah earlier saying he didn't feel like recapping yesterday's game. Fair. Absolutely enough things to talk about today. Jeremiah also said, did you guys hear what Ross said after the game? Jack commented on that further. Ross approval rating after that quote. I need to know what that quote was. Admittedly, did not get to see it. So if you guys could drop it in the comments.
Said a lot too. That's why I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, you had mentioned Seiya. I want to kind of go back to that just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I don't know if you follow Trevor Bauer on his journey right now over in Japan. But it's interesting to so Trevor Bauer gets there and he's talking, he had to buy a glove. There's things that, and I started to relate it to what Seiya's life was probably like last year. Like Trevor Bauer is struggling to get on the train system to get to the ballpark, because there's no English. There's no, explanation of what train to get on. It's confusing. it's going to be a fun parallel to sit and watch that, because I do very much like look at that as like, I think we undersell the fact of like when players come over from their other countries, how different it is here.
Yeah.
And two, like to watch Trevor and see him over there, like struggling to have the right currency to get on the train, to struggling getting on the right train, knowing where to get off and where to go and how to communicate when he's just trying to get dinner. Like they're sitting on their phone using Google Translator all day. It's just him like talking with waiters, and the minute that they have somebody who understands the like of English, it's like, oh, you know English, thank God, like you're a lifesaver. For Seiya a lot last year, that had to be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously travels with a translator, but imagine only having one person that you can talk to. That's got to be it's got to be exhausting. And two, his family wasn't here for a lot of it. And yeah, I give him tons of ups for like being here, getting comfortable, and then now coming off an injury, getting himself ready and then producing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've been wanting to bring up Trevor Bauer on the show for a while, because I do very much love his YouTube stuff. I think that more guys in the game need to do that. Like, how awesome would it be if, guys like Dansby Swanson or Nico Horner were, taking YouTube videos that were getting cut up on the road. Like, it'd be another view into like the life of a ball player, and it would be so much more easier for us to identify with like what they go through daily, because It's 162 games in 180 some days. It's a lot to put yourself, your body through, your mental stability. And like, it's crazy to like just see, to have all that, just a normality of like a normal baseball season, and then to throw in the fact that like you're in a country that you've never been in before, with only one person that you could legitimately have a conversation with for the most part, is just crazy. Like, so last year, I'm glad that he got that experience. And it's just clear that this year he's come back, like you said, with a vengeance, with, his body's in the right place in terms of like putting on more muscle and things like that. And he's just comfortable. I feel like you're now seeing, the ingredients of the soup come together, and now the Cubs are reaping the benefits from it.
100%. And coming back to some of the comments here, want to give the love to everybody that's jumping in. Jack saying it's Jed's world and we're all just living in it. It certainly fucking feels that way. And he also says, remember last year when us and a lot of others saw this vision in the second half, and he said, what 2023 could be because of that half. And I agree. They laid a lot of groundwork, I think, for this year's team in that second half, playing above 500 ball with arguably a 4A team, most often outside of Nico Horner and Ian Happ, and when he was healthy, Seiya Suzuki, in terms of position players. So for them to be where they're at, and this was the quote here. First off, Scott saying this team is dangerous, but then he gives us the quote. Asked if Smyl would have been allowed to go to the distance if the perfect game remained intact. Cubs manager David Ross joked, "I was going to ride him harder than Jan did." That is an A plus quote, as Brian Lefevre says here in the comments too. A plus quote. David Ross showed off the personality. Again, this Cubs team's having fun, man. And speaking of fun, Juice, I saw you being in on this whole petition, and I know I'm just the walking meme of this friggin' podcast. But Brian Lefevre thinking the Mankini run needs to be a thing. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll table it. How about that?
We'll table it. Here's what I'll propose.
Here we go. Be careful.
I'm treading very lightly right now. If this Cubs team, currently at 12-7, by the end of April has 17 wins, I will do a Mankini run for every series win the rest of the season. I'm gonna wear shorts, mind you, because I'm not trying to get arrested out in public. I don't want the police of my neighborhood rolling down the street and arresting me for public indecency. Because I promise you right now, anytime I move in that thing, It does not properly protect.
Before we confirm this, though, we're on pace for 100 wins, Ronald.
I'm well aware.
Could be a lot of
maybe I'll lose some weight because of it.
And, hey, that's however you need to motivate yourself. I'm for it. I'm here for you, man.
We need to talk about it. Brian's saying it's happening. He's excited. Scott wants to know how far the run would be. So for those, I'll give context for those that have never been to my place of residence. Juice
I have
attest to this. My driveway is like running a 50-yard dash.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
It's unnecessarily long. So it'll probably be a good sprint. I think I have a W flag somewhere. I'm not trying to steal off friend of the program Dubs and his W runs, but I'll tie that thing to my back like a cape if I have to, and just full-blown sprint down the driveway, yelling "Cubs win," and then coming back to the camera and saying some hooligan shit into the camera. And Brian's got a good idea. We could turn it into a charity fundraising.
Hey, I love that idea.
We're gonna talk about this after the show. The Mankini Run might have to be an adopted part of Cubs.
I like that idea.
I do too.
And I think we could find up some good charities there.
I will adjust my proposal. If this Cubs team gets to 15 wins by the second round of the NFL draft, so that's Friday. So they have a week to get 3 wins.
Okay.
Every series win the rest of the season will result in a Mankini Run from Ron Luce.
Realistically, they just got to win 1 in every series, but we're hoping for more than that.
I will shake up to myself.
I'm here for it.
So
we can line up some good charities for this, I think.
Yeah, we can have a lot of fun with this. We can do a lot of crazy stuff with this. We can do polls for, what color Mankini for which series, and because I got 2 of them. I got a red and a blue.
This is true.
So we'll see, man. We'll see. But nonetheless,
you're a glutton for pain.
I know. You know what? I'm here for it. You know what I mean?
We need to see what the lady would say about it, though.
She would laugh. She would actually support it.
She's for it?
She'd probably be the one recording it.
She
would record it, and then she would save a copy and send it to herself for her own amusement.
See, you got a good one there.
Yeah, she's spectacular. She's the best. But yeah, man. I mean, and you know what? I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Mankini runs because Juice. I'm just looking at the box score right now, going to the bats today, and how hot they were. Horner was 4 for 5 with 4 ribbies. Swanson had a hit. Happ had a hit. Suzuki had 2 hits. Wisdom had 2 hits. Bellinger 2 hits. Mancini 3 hits with 3 RBIs. Wisdom had 3 RBIs. Suzuki had 2 RBIs. Belly had the solo shot. Jan and Madrigal each having a hit. Like this team they hit. They absolutely hit today.
Yeah.
And you love to see it. Power stroke all over the place. 4 home runs in this game. Nico gets his first. Wisdom is just on a tear. Belly lives to hit bombs against the Dodgers. And Trey, it's good to see Trey Mancini get back on the right foot. And just the way this team is built, Juice, the way we've been talking this entire show so far, after he had the struggle, the rest of that clubhouse picked him up and said, hey, man, you'll get back there. Don't worry about it. We got you. You figure your stuff out. We got you. And sure as shit, he comes back in today, 3 hits, the big bomb, drives in 3 runs. You absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, I thought he got right last night with the line drive to second. It's short hop to second baseman and ends up in right field. I thought that was like the moment where I'm like, he probably is poised to have a good, kind of series here. It's kind of crazy because the Cubs are doing all this scoring without him too, and a lot of people viewed him as that power that was going to be in the middle of this lineup. And I think in a lot of ways he would even agree that he's missed the boat to start the season here. But hey, keep getting right, and that middle of the lineup. I know that we poo-poo it, like it's not. I mean, it's not like the Killer Bees when they were in, with the Astros. But I mean, Belly giving belly aches to everybody, man. I was tweeting that out today. I'm like, oh man, pitchers are gonna have some belly aches when he comes to at bat. Seiya Suzuki, obviously, he's been just solid, and he's even going to get better, I think, because he's still working his way into, a seasoned Suzuki here. And, then you look at what Patrick Wisdom's done, and it seems like he hits a home run like every day. It's just nuts.
It's amazing.
And you mentioned Trey Mancini. And if those are those four, and at the top of the order, it's guys who are working great at bats like Ian and like Dansby Swanson and Nico. The bottom of this lineup matters just less and less, doesn't it? Obviously it's like found money, but there was a stat on today that the Cubs are 10-1 when Yan Gomes catches. Like, that's nuts. Like that, and I don't like to throw shade at people who, were on this team and helped bring a World Series ring. But the Cubs were on to something when they let Wilson Contreras go. And it was the fact that the game was moving away from defensive, less defensive. You need a defensive catcher. It was moving away from the fact that you could just post anybody behind there and call it a day. Pitch sequencing and game managing and calling means so much when you can only disengage twice. The bases are bigger. There is no shift. Like there comes so much more into sequencing pitches for everybody when there's less and less advantage for the pitcher. Because realistically, these rules, that's what they tried to do. They saw the numbers in regards to the least amount of hits and, the averages around baseball. And they said, well, we got to bring the game somewhat back to the hitter. Yeah. And they did that in a lot of ways with the pitch clock. There's less time to think about it, less time for pitchers to be, quirky, to throw off timing. There's more, there's less time for hitters to overthink it. The bases are bigger. There's no shift. So guys who are lining the ball through, that second base hole there, those are hits again. Like, that's when baseball came back to the hitter, it then became where can I save runs? And it's in sequencing and it's good game calling. And that's what Yan Gomes does. Any offense has just found money with him, but he is just so worth it behind the plate that, we mentioned that bulb or that middle of the order, but I'll tell you what, man, Yan Gomes is worth it as of right now. Just so worth it.
Absolutely. And I think it goes to show what we talked about all of last season being true of Jed was playing with house money, knowing where baseball's going. And they know where this game is evolving and where you have to have certain type of players. And you're seeing it from the pitching, from the rotation, because none of the guys throw, high 90s in the starting rotation, but they all have nasty stuff. They all command their stuff.
And they're all different. They're all different. Every single
got their own thing.
They say everybody, there's a million different ways to skin a cat. I know it's a weird saying to say, but that's the truth with all five of these guys. It's all different 100%. Repertoires. It's all different ways that they go about pitching.
Yeah, so you can't settle in against the Cubs in a series knowing that you're going to see three of the same pitchers out there on the mound in a series. It's just not the case anymore. And they're getting the hitting. They're getting it from all different types of guys, right? All these different type of players. It feels like this perfect storm, really, of what this Cubs team is. And this is just the start of what this team is going to be for the next few years. And obviously we're keeping it as present as possible here, but even in the present, Juice, like you brought up a little bit earlier, this team's hitting well. This team's 12-7. This team's one of the best teams in baseball. And you have two prospects at AAA knocking on the door so hard, they might just take a fucking battering ram to it. And Christopher Morel and Matt Mervis and even Nelly V.
Side note, just got the notification. Morel will lead off homer to start the game.
There you go.
Embarrassment of riches so far.
And that's a beautiful spot to be because do I take a shot? Yeah, I'm going to take a shot.
I love when you take shots.
I'm going to take a shot because The boss man of On Tap Sportsnet today texts me.
Oh, if I know where you're going,
yeah. He
Yeah.
turned the Cubs game on and the perfect game ended. And because he's a Sox fan, I blame him. So I'm taking my shot. If the White Sox were anywhere near as deep from a prospect pool standpoint, from an MLB roster standpoint, from an MLB development standpoint as the Cubs are, they wouldn't be so fucking miserable watching the White Sox this season. They have no prospect pool. Nobody that's MLB ready, at least. Lenyn Sosa? Who? With beer? What? Lenyn Sosa? Who? Nobody knows who he is. They have no depth. Nobody wants to play for anybody. They all hate each other. Pedro Griffol's getting compared by boss man Tony Marchese himself to Jeremy Colleton. And for anybody that watched the Blackhawks the last handful of years, that should hit you in the stomach like a freaking lead balloon. This Cubs team is in such a different spot that, yes, they are exceeding expectations to the national media. But I think a lot of Cubs fans said here, again, back to Jack's comment from earlier, we saw the groundwork being laid at the end of 2022 with what this team could be in 2023. And we all sat here optimistic on the microphone before the season and said this team can win 85-plus games and be a playoff contender. And people laughed at us. Well, guess who's laughing now? I'm laughing my way out to a beautiful dinner this evening, celebrating a 13-0 throttling. This is the biggest margin of victory the Cubs have ever had over the Dodgers in history. And I'm gonna have a nice little margarita with it too to celebrate because the Cubs are hot and it's fucking awesome.
You know, Ron, you talk about 12-7. There's three wins still hanging in there, in my opinion, that they've blown.
Agreed 100%.
But I'm going to just go general statement here. And I want to educate the viewers at least a little bit on what I think sports are. This is my opinion. Sports and shit, a lot of things in life. It's crazy how far you can go when you just don't beat yourself. Mm-hmm. You do the right things, the little things. You know, home runs and almost perfect games are great. But you know what is even better? Moving runners over, situational hitting. The Cubs do all of this. And this is a perfect mix of players that come together and they all do something well to form this cohesive unit right now. I mean, for example, you look at the top of that lineup and it just wears at you. Just leans on you. Guys like Nico and Dansby and Ian Happ, like those as your first three hitters, like those are guys who are going to give you a hard at bat. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of times when we're getting to the second inning, scoring runs or not, you're already looking at the starting pitcher with like 20, 25 pitches. It just happens that way. Yep. And it's because Ian Happ fouls off, a couple two strikers. Nico Horner finds a hole somewhere. And even if they don't score, they're taking huge bites out of this. And I'm going to go back to your favorite movie, Moneyball, man. Like you want to get into that 5th, 6th, 7th reliever. They do that consistently. And now there may be a time during the season where they're not doing that. Baseball is, in a lot of ways, dumb. We saw it today, right? That's a hit. And there were 7 or 8 balls last night over 105 in exit velocity that were right at somebody for the Cubs. Mm-hmm. But baseball's dumb. And over the course of like 162, you're going to figure out. But you know what? You know what's not dumb? Not beating yourself. The Cubs don't do it. They play decent defense. And actually, they're underperforming defensively going into this. That's the backbone of this team. And it's only going to get better. So if you think that some of the hitting woes are going to start to fall into, and they will, they're going to play better defense to make up for it. There's going to be more balls in play that are outs because that's the way that they're constructed, and they're underperforming in that. So, yeah, they're going to need to hit, but they're going to create more outs or hits and outs as well. So
100%.
It's just crazy to like just sit and look at this team and wonder where it could be and like where they can add. And it's just fun. And I think that the difference in like this Cubs team opposed to, the team on the South Side or the Cardinals right now, that you hit it on the head. They were so prepared with where this game was going to go that they were drafting that way going into last season. And now during the offseason, they positioned themselves to be to have the embarrassment of riches because they knew the way this game was going. And it's just interesting to like just bring up the comment again. It's Jed's league. It's Jed's world. We're all just living it. Like it's just so refreshing because I sat on this show and I said, I don't know if Jed Hoyer is intelligent. There was not a long series of him running a baseball club without arguably one of the greatest GMs of all time next to him. So for me to sit on here and go, man, like how awesome it is that they put this together. He put this together. He had the outlook and the futuristic, look into what the game was going to be like and who he wanted to target. And you know what, man? Like it's just so refreshing to be a Cub fan right now because from the top of the organization all the way down to, the Arizona Fall League where they're working some of these guys out right now, there's a philosophy. There's a matter of this is the Cubby way. This is how we attack. And this is what we're going to get better at. And this is how we're going to win. And it's crazy how far you'll go if you don't beat yourself and you just follow what's true to what you believe in your philosophy. And yeah, man, it's Jed's world and we're all just living in it.
All just living in it, baby. One more quick comment here as well. The starting lineup today has a combined batting average over 300. Let that just show you how well this Cubs team is hitting top to bottom. Again, just a couple more quick notes. Jeremiah Estrada looked good in his 1 1/3. Did walk the 2 in the 9th to make things a little interesting, but still K'd 3. Didn't give up any hits, any runs either. So good showing for him in his first work in the majors for the 2023 season. Madrigal had a triple today. We had a lot of good shit going on, Juice. And I want to turn it right back over to you real quick, buddy, for any final thoughts from this win before we look ahead to the rest of the weekend because we won't be back until Sunday evening following the conclusion of this series against the Dodgers. So final thoughts from today's win.
Yeah, to me, this win only feels great if they go on and win the next two, right? Like a split against this team, the way the Dodgers are playing right now, just doesn't seem. I know this is so, greedy but like
be greedy.
Yeah, but like they could beat this team 3 out of 4. I don't care that it's May and Kershaw. The way they're hitting, the way they're seeing the baseball, keep playing the way they're playing, and it seems like all the cards will fall where they need to fall because the Cubs could absolutely find themselves winning 3 out of 4 here. And we're just so close to your Mankini bet becoming a real thing at that point.
I think that's just what everybody wants at this point. It's not even about the Cubs winning games anymore. It's just about Ron embarrassing himself more on social media and in public to people. Yeah, man. My just final thoughts. Just I got to give quick love as well to a guy I mentioned the other night on the show with Nick. Talking about, I have to correct myself. I had stats backwards as well, though, in the clip. But started the season through the first 15 games, only the third player in history to have 16 or more runs scored, 22 or more hits, and 9 or more stolen bases through your team's 15 games to start a season. He was in the same company as Ricky Henderson and Kenny Lofton. And that is Nico Horner. And today marks 17 games now on base streak. He is the engine. That extension, Ian Happ's extension was important too, but that extension might just be the greatest homegrown extension the Cubs have ever signed. Nico Horner right now is truly the engine. I said it the other night. It's no longer you go, we go. It's Nico, we go. And he's just continuing to blow people away with how good of a baseball player he is top to bottom. The complete player right now for this team and really is the catalyst, I think, for a lot of what they are doing because he starts it off at the top of the order. Like you mentioned today, Urias had almost 30 pitches through the first inning. because those top guys work him so hard. And it's friggin' awesome to see, man, and you can't get enough of it. But we are going to go ahead, Juice, and look ahead. 2 more games coming up over the weekend. As we noted, we'll be back on Sunday night with you guys. Maybe immediately following the game, maybe not. Not entirely sure yet. We'll communicate via the Cubs on Tap Twitter account, so be sure to be following us there if you are not already. But as you noted, 2 really good pitching matchups coming up over the weekend. On Saturday, it will be May versus Wesneski. In that one, it'll be a 1:20 start on Saturday. And in the 1:20 start on Sunday to finish it off, this might be the battle of the season so far, at least from a Cubs perspective. It's Kershaw versus Stroman on Sunday.
Point in television.
Yeah, 3-1 is Kershaw with a 2.52 ERA, and Marcus Stroman says, "Hold my beer. I'm 2-1 with a 0.75 ERA through 4 starts already this season." I mean, Juice, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good weekend. This is, like you said, this Dodgers team is not playing well enough to sit here and be afraid of the big bad Dodgers. The Cubs should, after today, ride the momentum, put their foot on their throats, and take 3 out of 4. Would love to know your thoughts on how they're going to get that done.
I don't think all year the Cubs are going to be afraid to play anybody. I think the Cubs, for the most part, are going to look inward and say, if we play the game that we know we can play, we could probably hang with anybody. And I think that's David Ross. That's, and there's a lot of talk about David Ross managing the bullpen and how much he's struggled with that. But I mean, yesterday, there was nobody left. I mean, let's face it. You'd love to see them go to, somebody other than Fulmer, but I think that gets sorted out over the course of 162 anyway. But yeah, I want them to be greedy. I want them to go into these and just do it. Hayden Wesneski coming off a really good start, seemed like he got that K strut back. I want him to bring it to Wrigley. I want him to announce, to the world that, hey, I'm a top of the end pitcher, and I'm breaking in. This could be somewhat of a coming out party for him. Mm-hmm. And then you hand it over to Stroh the next day, and you say, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being the ace. Keep giving, great outings and coming out and, having that sanker sankin'. Get tilt, as they say here, as we say here, on Cubs on Tap. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I think that, and this isn't just because there's no South Bend Cubs this weekend, but I'm going to find myself posted up with a Crack'em and taking in both of these ball games, because it's going to be interesting to sit and watch how they perform over the next 2 days. And I'm greedy, man. I want them to win the next 2. Go into that next series, against after the off day, and go into that next series against the Padres, and man, be ready to show them too that you're for real. And let's start to stack some wins, man, because this thing looks like it could get real fun, really fun.
Hell yeah, absolutely, man. I'm right there with you. I think the key for the next 2 days, it's going to cool off. It's going to be a little colder over the weekend now. I think it's going to be traditional Chicago April baseball. You got to pitch and you got to play good defense. I think that's going to be the recipe for the next 2 days. Today was actually a pretty beautiful day, all things considered, in the Chicagoland area. The wind was blowing out ferociously, so that certainly helped with the long ball today. I don't know if it's going to be the same case in these next 2 games. So I think as long as Wesneski can build off of that start in Oakland that he had, and then Stroh just continues to do what Stroh has done to start this season, I think the Cubs will be just fine. Do I think they're going to win 13-0 in these next 2 games? Probably not. But I think
awesome.
It'd be unbelievable. I'd lose my absolute shit.
And then the Cubs put up 39 in the last 3.
Yeah, they just keep it rolling. But no, man, I am excited legitimately to see what this team is going to do over the next 2 days and how they're going to get it done. I want to share one more thing as a part of the preview, though. We mentioned, just joking here, about the 13 runs scored. Megan Montemurro tweeted this out a little bit earlier. The 2022 Cubs scoring 10 or more runs in a game. They did it 6 times in 2022. The 2023 Cubs scoring 10 or more runs in a game. They've done it 6 times. It's been 20 games. Not even. It's been 19 games. 19 games. They've scored more than 10 runs 6 times.
And a tough part of their schedule.
Yeah. I was told this team wasn't going to be able to hit this year. Well, Even we talked about this team probably going to have to pitch and play good defense. I mean, they still do, but we were expecting a lot of 2-1 ball games. Shit, I don't think we've had a 2-1 ball game all year.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Not that they won.
No. Bananas. This team's offense is coming through, man. You mentioned it. The timely hitting. Wild. They're getting the job done. I hope they keep it up, man. Ride the momentum from today, because today is the type of game that you just take and you ride and then leave it all on the field the next 2 days, because you got an off day and then you don't have to leave town. You wait for the Padres to come on Tuesday. I'll be at that game too, by the way. Very excited about that. So I'm right there with you, man. Pitch, play good defense. Depending on the weather conditions, hit the ball as much as possible. Go get some wins, man. Go take this series from the Dodgers again. And then they only have to win one, Juice, in that Padres series for the Mankini runs to become a thing.
Or in that, well, they'll still have one against Miami, right? Or are you talking about not counting Miami?
No. I'll count the first game against Miami, because technically that game will be over by the time the Bears are on the clock in the second round.
That's what I was thinking.
So technically, because I think it's a day game.
I see it on the schedule, but they don't have the times next to it on my calendar that they gave it out for us. But I can look it up.
I got you. I'm looking right now. We'll do some quick analysis here on the fly, because that's just what we do here at Cubs on Tap. No, that Friday game start. It's a 6:40 for you, 5:40 for
so not mistake.
I'll allow it. If it comes down to crunch time and they need the third win by then, I don't know, Juice. The way they've been playing, I don't know if they're going to need till then. I think they're going to take care of business and do it, and they can get 2 of them in the next 2 days. And then, could you imagine if I'm at the third game they win? What's going to happen?
Yeah, you may be in the bleachers, and it just doesn't
Scott from Iowa is going to blow up my Twitter after that game if that happens. I just know.
I hope he does. Hey, I'm all for a good cause.
Hey, I know. Hey, he's going to be telling everybody, he's going to be like, they won the series over the weekend. Now if they win this series, the first one starts the rest of the year. I'm going to, you know how worn in those things are going to get? I'm going to have to buy new ones halfway through this season.
I think there's an on-tap budget for that, though.
Yeah, they were $10 on Amazon, man. I think it's not going to kill me, but I might even get more colors too. No, we'll keep it to colors.
You're getting way too excited about this.
We'll keep it to Cubs colors. The perfect world, Cubs, if you're listening, the perfect world, you get me a white one that has blue pinstripes on it, and I'll wear that all the time.
At Cubs right now.
Don't tweet. Please don't tweet that at them. I would feel so bad for the social admin getting a tweet that says at Luce on Tap is willing to wear a white and blue pinstripe Mankini. If you guys send it to them, they'll be like, "What the fuck are they?"
Ron, you know how diehard Cub fans are. They've gotten worse. I guarantee you.
Oh, I'm sure they have. They don't need that today.
That's probably normal. That's probably normal. That's probably Tuesday. This is Tuesday night.
So dumb. Oh, so dumb. Juice, before we get out of here, buddy, I do want to remind everybody, Cubs on Tap, one of 2 official Cubs podcasts here of the On Tap Sports Network. Check out our friends over at the Dingers Podcast at Dinger Cubs on Twitter and Instagram. They'll be live on Monday night. Monday is a Cubs off day, so still Cubs baseball content coming from On Tap Sportsnet. Even on a Cubs off day, the Dingers boys will be live at between 8 and 8:30. They've been firing a little early the last couple shows, so be ready to tune in around 8. Though they usually start right around 8 o'clock over on the YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, be sure to do so. Hit the little bell ringer button so you know when we go live, and you'll get a notification. And that way you're always in the loop with us here over at On Tap Sportsnet. But be sure to follow them again at Dinger Cubs. Follow the whole game. Mitch, Jeff, Kevin, Jake, they do a great job. Follow us as well, obviously, Cubs on Tap, at Cubbies on Tap, Twitter and Instagram. I am at Luce on Tap on the Bluebird app. Juice is at Juice on Tap. Follow all the other boys as well, at Joey Knows Nothing, at Teddy Friday 270, at Nick_on Tap. Be sure to follow everybody. Be sure also to follow at LaFever Fever. Follow our guy, Brian LaFever. He does an awesome job with all of our cool clips that you see on Twitter and all that.
And the Diamondback fan, too. Avid.
Avid,
Die
yes.
hard.
He's but he's just a baseball fan. That's the beauty of it. And he's I'm gonna try and drag him out to the ballpark with me when the Diamondbacks are in town later this season.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea.
It'll be good. We'll get Brian out in the bleachers with us and do some on tap content with Mr. LaFever Fever. Yes, and as Brian says, be sure to like the video. Please do. We appreciate the likes. That's always good for us. Who else? Do we miss anybody? Yes, at Bulls Guy Rob, our prospect guy. Everybody's so excited about what's going on in the minors. Be sure to follow along with him. He does his daily around the farms. And those are usually released on a daily basis. So be sure to tune in for those. He's got his biggest yeses and his biggest nopes, effectively, of each at each level. Yeah, biggest yikes. Sorry, yes, biggest yes and biggest yikes of each level every day. And he's on top of it, man. And Rob does a great job. So be sure to follow him as well. And follow everybody else. You know the drill. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks. We got it all. Juice and I just recorded Bears on Tap yesterday with our boy Quentin. We're a week away from the draft, so be sure to tune in with us there too if you're a big Bears fan. And Cubs fans, you know the drill. We've all got friends that like the horse shit Southsiders.
Yeah, they got a 6:40 funeral tonight.
Oh yeah. They got the Rays this weekend. They're not going to win any of those games.
6:40 funeral tonight.
Yeah, 6:40 funeral. So be sure to tune in. To, tell your friends to hang out with our friends because misery loves company. And tell them to follow the Sox on Tap guys. See that they do a great job covering the Southsiders. I actually do feel bad for our friends over at Sox on Tap that they have such a shit ball club that they have to root for because they have a terrible owner and because they have a GM that does. I know, but they have a GM that doesn't know what he's doing.
Remember Pray for the League. Remember that in Hans League.
I do.
Well, or the parade. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Ask me after the parade. Poor guys. Don't feel bad, but when you talk like that, you deserve it.
Yeah, it's fair. OnTapSports.com and OnTapSport, our social media, the OnTap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Juice, happy Friday, buddy. What better way to talk about, and finish off the week than talk about a Cubs victory? As we mentioned, we will be back with you guys on Sunday, and then the boys will be back on Tuesday. I will not be on Tuesday's show. I think that'll be the first one I miss. But I'll be at the ballpark getting plenty of content, so be sure to follow Cubs on Tap. Follow me. I'll be posting plenty of videos. It should be going. They got the Padres. I'm actually very excited to see them play the Padres in person. And we'll just keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. And we're 3 wins away from fruition. And Brian gets to wish.
We need the countdown.
Maybe if Brian's bored this weekend, he'll put up like a countdown graphic. And it's just gonna be my head on a Mankini. And he's just gonna be like, 1 more win. And then when it gets to 0, it's just I don't know.
I think it's a good idea because then we can reuse it. We could reuse it during the series. We need one more win and then have you in the
one more win for a series win.
It's all usable for the rest of the year.
It's all able to be repurposed 100%, buddy. But hey, man, always a pleasure. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you guys again on Sunday. And what do you say, buddy? We get out here the only way to how it Cubs on Tap.
Fuck the Cardinals, and I'm about to have myself a nice cigar.
Ooh, I love that for you, buddy. And let's go, Cubbies.